Hello to everyone. I'd like to welcome you to this session called FME Integration Tool for all your data. First, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Želimir and I work for a company called Multisoft, which is located in Zagreb, Croatia. Multisoft is a software development company and also VAR for FME and GE Small World products. We work with lots and lots of various data, mostly considering utility networks. And of course, we use and absolutely enjoy to use FME while doing it. Often we integrate FME solutions for our clients in Croatia and abroad. And because of that, we've garnered a lot of experience throughout the years and hopefully could show you a glance of what we did as beginners in our earlier years and how we evolved into professionals by using FME and, of course, where we are today. The goal is to give you some tips and tricks as FME users, and we hope that you can find yourself in this story of ours. In this slide, you can see some themes we are going to go through. So, every one of us that ever worked with FME knows this. Before even finding out what FME is and does, you had this problem or idea that took too long to solve with traditional methods. And usually it was the simple one, like transforming from one format to another. Looking at this slide, this represents the content of my first ever workbench. Yes, it's simple, and yes, I'm proud of it. As a matter of fact, I still use these kind of simple workspaces nowadays when I'm not an FME beginner, just for the purpose of transforming from one format to another. And I'm sure many of you also started like this, and those of you who hadn't had a chance yet to work with FME and find out about wondrous world of data integration, most likely will start like this. And as the saying goes, this here is one small step for data engineer, but one giant leap into solution for all of your data, or something like that. Now, as I say to anyone who likes to talk with me about FME, every single of your next workbench starts with a single spark of idea. Usually there's a lot of reading of documentation and experimenting to understand the process, but the idea is the one that matters and will push you towards your beautiful end result in your final workbench. So when you have an idea, just refrain yourself to this flowchart. Believe it or not, in few months of time of working with FME, you could easily understand so much about FME that next problem will become just a challenge or even an adventure. And you could have fun with FME too, merging your FME knowledge with your hobby. Like my colleague Martin, also FME enthusiast, board game designer and cryptocurrency influencer did right here. This little workbench tells Martin what crypto is worth buying and selling and at what point of time. He's still not a millionaire, but as Del Boy Martin says it, this time next year we'll still have only one piece of a Bitcoin. That's what Martin is. By day, he's just an ordinary FME professional, but when the night falls, he fights crime with FME. Another fun example. My here example is somewhat more modest, but nonetheless also awesome. The idea was that while working my job from home here and there happened street-wide power shortages. So all my work on computer goes bupkis if I didn't click that miraculous save button. So instead of pulling my hair and getting bald, I choose a different approach. The workbench was designed that every day in the morning a national power supply website was asked whether or not there will be power shortages and where in the city. This is here the mentioned website. This way, FME could easily send me an email when there will be power shortage on my street and save my work and, more importantly, save my hair. Now, if I want to improve this, I could easily add a GDPR approved database of all Multisoft employees and implement same workbench each for their own address. So everyone will get alerted and relax when power gets cut. Now let's go back to the sphere of our work at Multisoft. As some of you know, we've developed various ways of dealing with spatial data integration for our clients. Most of our jobs on which we heavily use FME is data immigration, import and export respectively, FME integration, quality control, report generation, standardization of data, differential upload, visualization, and many more. Now look at this FME server homepage. It's somewhat different than the usual ones, isn't it? Well, that's because we integrated some nice stuff in homepage that usually aren't there. Like, for example, this graphical representation shows usage of FME server during last month. And how is this calculated and created? Well, with FME, of course. Every first in the month, there's a scheduled workspace that gets triggered and calculates all statistics of FME server usage during last month's period. Then it sends it to FME Service front-end homepage and voila! Now everyone can see how much your company is using FME server. Bear in mind, this was designed even before dashboard feature was introduced in FME server. And results for this work of ours are very significant. Larger productivity, less time spent, less overload of human resources, flexible customization, data accessibility, easier data handling, full or semi-automation. And this one particularly is interesting, that even end users may not be aware that FME does so much in the background. Like in this example here, where user needs to do quality check on created dataset and the only thing he or she does is copy the mentioned dataset in some predefined folder shown here. In background, directory watch of FME server takes data, runs it through control in Workbench and returns it back in other directory. End user also gets an email. All these results make your data and your business decision smarter. One of this kind of ultimate example is an app on web for extraction of spatial objects and methodical utility exchange, which of course we call awesome. As you see, we are so much creative. Anyway, this app enables various users to extract on-demand spatial utility data from smaller database to a standardized AutoCAD format. Since data is proprietary, our client insisted on creating this task-based system, which will give them more flexibility and fully automate the whole process from demand to delivery. That's why there are so many systems involved, including the FME server. And the app doesn't look like much, it's relatively simple, shown here. Also user-friendly, but There are also so many communication going around in the back between systems, and all for the purpose of fast and reliable delivery. So the user basically chooses some polygonal area of interest. App then calculates the cost of delivering the extracted data. After user accepts this by clicking this button, task is created which orders FME server to run a workbench that will connect to the other system that communicates with database for the purpose to extract the data in standardized format. End result pops out as a file in user task which he or she can download. Of course, there are some alerts via email that your data is ready beforehand. Pretty nifty, isn't it? Now, what can we say at the end of this? FME is marvelous. I know it. If you already didn't, you know it. The goal here is not just to brag about our successful stories, but also to encourage you to be brave, to always expand your knowledge and use that knowledge on your data. Now, in this process, you'll have your fair share of failures. We've had it, even Dale and Don, co-founders of Safe, had it. But it's a learning experience toward the path of making your data more functional or more alive. And we at Multisoft can surely point you in the right direction at least. I'm gonna stop right here and thank you for your attention. Feel free to ask Martin and me anything you like on our live Q&A session or organize a meeting with us. You can even contact us via email directly. We are eager to help you in any way we can. We hope that this FME Warfare event will show you huge potential FME has, and more importantly, give you those ideas that will start making your job easier. Thank you for your time.